It can be any of them on the stands. I have a lot of attack stands. Every time I say stands, I think of Undertale. Hi guys, thank you so much for clicking on my video. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. Just want to record this little intro to let you guys know that the Genshin Impact manga series, the second part of the video, was supposed to go up this week, but it's been crazy unpacking everything for moving, so I wasn't able to film it. But we do have a really nice video on how to build your characters, and that Genshin manga video will be going up next week. So don't worry, that series is still continuing. But yeah, you can follow me on my socials, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. I actually know nothing about builds, so how the fuck do you make a Mona? How do I build my Mona? That's a good question. I can also talk about it here. First of all, before I even say anything, I would just like to put a little disclaimer that you can build any character however you want. Don't let people tell you how to build your characters and play the game if you don't want to build them that way. As long as you're happy, you could just not build your characters. As long as you're happy playing the game, that is all that matters to me. So let's talk about artifacts a little bit, yeah? I like to use my Zhao as an example. Make sure that you have good artifacts that you like, that are good for your character, like a 5-star feather, for example, right? And then I would look at the substats. You want to have good substats on that kind of help give you a little bit of an edge. And then I would look at the set bonus. I feel like a lot of the times, especially when people are starting out, they focus more on the set bonus. I used to do this. So always go for, I would go in the order that is main stats, substats, then set bonus. I def focus on set bonus, you got me. And that's totally fair. I feel like it's the one thing that's like kind of highlighted, so our eyes get drawn to it a lot, but it's honestly the last thing that I would recommend focusing on. And because when you get further on, you could like move around artifacts and stuff. There's 5 different types of artifacts, all right? What even is the difference? Obviously, they all bring different stats, but what does a flower do different than a cup? And what does a feather do different than a sands, all right? Let's talk about it a little bit. The main stat for a flower is always going to be HP. Literally every flower you click on, HP. It's called a flower of life. This is basically the source of your character's life. It is their health. As long as you're getting HP here, that's what really matters. Substats are really great for flowers because you're not really getting anything besides HP from the main stat. For example, my Zhao's flower has crit damage and crit rate versus some other flowers. Let's see what this one of these has like no stats, right? Obviously it's like 2. If you're gonna get like defense on a flower, or like this one, for example, unless this could maybe, I don't even know who that'd be good on, to be honest. Like you're not getting any like attack or crit, which is usually what's favored. So it's not the end of the world if it's not on your flower, but once you start getting into really building, you kind of want to get a flower that has substats that you're looking for on it. That's what I would say. For feather, so for your plume of death, as they call it, the main stat for your plume of death is always going to be attack. Again, you want to focus on getting a good feather. Then for your sands of Eon, as it's called, these have way more variety. So you can have HP percentage, defense percentage, attack percentage, elemental mastery, or energy recharge here. It can be any of them on the sands. I have a lot of attack sands. Every time I say sands, I think of Undertale. But you have like, see, elemental mastery. I have an energy recharge here. So that's what's over here on your sands. Again, same principle, main stat, substat, then set bonus. For your cup, the goblet of Eonthem, or however the fuck you say it. This has a lot of varieties. So this is HP percent, def percentage, attack percentage, elemental mastery, or elemental damage bonus. So that's physical bonus, hydro bonus, pyro bonus, cryo bonus, all of that stuff. In general, I would almost always recommend going for like the damage bonus that matches your character's element. So for Zhao, I have an animo damage bonus. I would almost always recommend going for a cup, even if it's shitty. Like I hate my Zhao's animo damage cup. I would almost always recommend just going for that because it's the one unique artifact where you can actually get animo damage bonus that isn't coming from a set bonus. So that's what I would say for the cup. And then for your circlet, it's kind of similar to the sands, HP percentage, def percentage, attack, elemental mastery, crit rate, crit damage, or healing bonus can be on here. All right, so that's all the artifacts. Let us talk about stats. What even are the stats? What do they even fucking mean? Because believe it or not everyone who plays Genshin has experience with RPGs, all right? Not everyone in Genshin knows what every single stat means. I get really frustrated because I feel like there's a lot of times the assumption that everyone knows what the stats are. So let's go over what the stats actually are and what they actually do for your characters. What does this mean? What does HP plus 508 means? So this is flat HP, as they call it. So this means you're just getting a flat 508 added to your current HP. It's just literally take that number and add it to your current HP, all right? Where it differs is when you get HP percentage. I want to describe HP percentage well. So say your current HP is 100. If you have 50% HP percentage, you're going to be adding 50. So then your total will be 150. So you're basically multiplying your current HP by 150%. So that's with HP percentage, that's with attack percentage, that's with defense percentage. Okay. Let's start with HP. So you want HP percentage? It really depends. HP is great on someone like Zhongli, and I'll get into a little bit more about why later. But HP is great on someone like Zhongli because his talents, his shield scales off HP. So as you can see here, it says the shield's damage absorption scales based on Zhongli's max HP. So the more HP you have on Zhongli, the stronger his shield is going to be. So someone like Zhongli, HP is absolutely great on. It makes his shield stronger. If you're literally only using for him, like for his shield like me, put a crazy HP on him. Same with Diona. Let's talk about Elemental Mastery. Elemental Mastery to me was the most confusing. I actually really had to look into it and understand it because I hear about it all the time, but I fully didn't really understand it. Elemental Mastery recently received a buff, all right, so it's a bit stronger than before, but basically it increases how powerful the elemental reactions created by your character will be. So let's say I'm doing a melt comp. I go with Chongyun and I freeze a character, and then I use Klee to melt. If Klee has Elemental Mastery on her, it'll increase how powerful that reaction is, basically. It's going to make the damage that the melt does stronger. That's what Elemental Mastery does. You want to put it on the person that's applying the effect that creates the reaction, right? So if someone's frozen, you want to put it on the pyro person that's going to melt. If you want to freeze someone and you already did water, you want to put it on the cryo character that's going to freeze. Let's talk about energy recharge. It's pretty simple. Energy recharge percentage is just, it increases how fast your skill recharges. So the higher the energy recharge you have on a character, like right here, 12.3%, increases how fast Zhao's skill recharges. So I can use it again. That one's pretty easy, I feel like, to understand. Elemental damage, so that's like your Anemo damage bonus, for example, increases how much damage your elemental attacks do. You can also have a physical damage bonus. A character like Eula, for example, will utilize a physical damage bonus very well. So if you're building someone like Eula, physical damage is great. If you're not, I would do elemental damage bonus. Cup basically just increases what your elemental attacks do. So a healing bonus, it just increases your healing effectiveness. It's great on a healer. It just increases the effectiveness of your healing, basically. Nothing super crazy, but it's great for your healer characters. What stat am I missing? Oh, let's talk about crit rate and crit damage. All right, crit rate and crit damage, the most sought after stats in the game. What do they even mean? Let's talk about what crit is. So a crit is when your character does an attack that does higher than normal damage. All right, that's a very simple version of it. Your crit rate affects how often that occurs. So if you have a 50% crit rate, your character will do higher than more normal damage half of the hits that you do. So basically every other hit, your character will be doing a crit. That's what your crit rate does. Your crit damage is the actual damage that is done every time. So for my Zhao, for example, he is hitting his crit 105% of the time. So he is always critting 100% of his attacks crit. So every time he crits, it's 151% of the current attack added on top. So it's doubling and then adding another 50% basically. So it's 150%. I have a super crazy crit rate for Zhao. So it's not normal. For your crit rate and your crit damage, you want to have 50 to 100. That's the ratio you want, 1-to-2 ratio for your crit rate and crit damage. 105, how? I grinded way too hard on this little guy. Automatically, your crit in the game will be a 50% without any artifacts. It's just your flat crit damage before you put anything on him. It'll be 50%. I get asked a lot, can I make insert character DPS? The answer is Yes, you can make anyone who you want a DPS. You can literally make whoever you want to be a DPS. Obviously, there are some characters who are built to be certain positions, right? Like Barbara's a healer, but you can build her to be DPS if you want, if it's for fun. Doesn't mean it's gonna be the best DPS ever, but you can build whoever you want, however you want, all right? As long as you're having fun, that's all that matters. Going back to artifacts, let's talk about a little bit about set bonuses and what they even mean. I'll just use these as an example because they're right there. So set bonuses I have on Zhao are Gladiator's Finale, which is attack percentage plus 18%, and Viridescent Veneer 2-piece, which is animo damage bonus plus 15%. So they do what they say they do. They add an attack bonus of 18% and an ammo damage bonus of 15%. They're great bonuses, but notice I could get 15% animo damage bonus. I get more than that on my cup, which is why I'm telling you guys, like, don't focus on set bonuses right off the bat. You can do that later. Set bonuses are wonderful, but if you're just starting to build and you don't have any good artifacts in a set, don't just throw a set on them to put a set on them, because they're not valuable enough for you to sacrifice all your other stats. The other thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about was weapons, because I feel like a lot of people kind of ignore that weapons have a stat. Weapons are going to give you that base attack, which is really important, but they're also going to give you this. You'll always have a secondary stat, at least for 4 stars, even 3 stars too. So like this is energy recharge, elemental mastery. I actually have that on shelling. Smart. This is going to add to your overall crit rate. So this is what I did for Zhao. I didn't give him as much crit rate as I normally would for artifacts because I knew I was going to put a crit rate weapon on him. So instead I focused the artifacts on crit damage. So your weapons can make up for places in which you're lacking. For example, let me show you my Chongyun that's not fully built. His crit rate is 12%. It's abysmal. It's awful. How am I going to fix this? I don't want to change his crit damage because I like where his crit damage is. So I don't want to alter his artifacts. How do I fix his crit rate? Well, the one solution to that is you get a crit rate weapon. I do have a crit rate weapon for him. It's this baby right here. I switch it out. I'm not keeping it switched because of the base attack, but it's adding 20%. So now his crit rate should be like 30%. It'll go up as it's leveled up. But basically you can make up for where you fail in your artifacts and your weapons. I know I talk about it all the time because I really like it, but this is the Genshin Ascension planner. It's just great, dude. I have nothing but good things to say about it. You can add characters, ignore those ones there. Like I could add Ayaka. Let's say I'm like, oh, I want to get her to 90. I want to get all her talents to level 8, or but I want to get this one to 10. Okay, let's say that. And then she'll appear here and it tells me all of the things I need to get for her, and based off my current inventory, which I can update, and I can change the priority. So if I want to do her before everything else and have her up there, it uses the resources on her before anyone else. It's really cool. This is the tedious part, kind of just importing your inventory. But after you do this, if you farm something, you can just click here and you can add it here. It's so great to use. I can also do a video on how to use this. I use it every single day. It's my favorite thing. This is not sponsored. I just really love it. Lastly, we can talk about team comps. First of all, how you generally want to do it. You can't see Zhao. He's here. He's above me. You know he's right there. This is, okay, let me swap them real quick. This is how I usually do it. DPS, sub DPS, support, healer. That's usually how I build my teams. And then the other thing for team comps to recognize, there's so much you can talk about. Team synergy, if they play well together, but just in general, I feel like that stuff you kind of figure out on your own by playing. You get a bunch of different elemental resonance, like depending on what elements you have in your party. So if you pick any 4 unique elements, your elemental resistance is going to go up by 15% and your physical resistance is going to go up by 15%. If you do 2 pyro characters, you get effective for cryo for 40% less time and your attack gets increased by 25%. If you do animo, you're going to get your stamina consumption is going to decrease by 15%. So you have more stamina, and your movement speed increases by 10%, and your skill cooldown is shortened by 5%. I liked to do Zhao and Venti together because I really liked the animo damage elemental resonance. For electro, if you get high voltage, so you're affected by hydro for 40% less time, superconduct overloaded and electro charge all have a 100% chance to generate an electro elemental particle. For shattering ice, which is 2 cryo characters, affected by electro for 40% less time, increases your crit rate against opponents that are frozen by 15%. And then enduring rock, which increases your shield strength by 15%. So this is 2 Geo. Additionally, a character protected by the shield will have following special characteristics. Damage out increase for 15%. Dealing damage to enemies will decrease their Geo resistance by 20% for 15 seconds. So I know it's a lot of information. Just look here if you care about your team comp and want to see what kind of little bonuses you can get by putting different elements together. Thank you guys again for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas on how to build your characters, any suggestions for me, or any questions. And as always, you can join the Discord channel. We do have a Genshin builds channel in there. If you need help with any of your builds or want to help other people, you can follow me on all of my socials, do whatever it is you'd like to do. And if you want to be a part of videos like this, make sure you go follow me over on Twitch, where I live stream right now every Tuesday. I had to take a little step back because I'm moving, but we'll be back in full swing in no time. Thank you guys again for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you very soon. Bye.